I want to start by first thanking the principal of this great school, Dr. Ali, William Penn School. Come on, give a big hand to William Penn for allowing us to come and inviting us. Again, thanks to you, all of our residents and neighbors and stakeholders for being here. We've got some new potential home buyers here, and we are really excited about this day. I am so very pleased to be before you. My name's Kevin Sutton. I'm the Executive Director for the Foundation for Home and Square, but I'm also a proud member of the North Lawndale Community Coordinating Council, and really pleased to be a member of United Power, who is helping us lead this push to build 1,000 homes on the west side of Chicago. I'm joined by a lot of help. Some of it's behind me. I'm really grateful for all of our guests today, all of our speakers. You'll be hearing from them shortly. We've got a whole cast and crowd, and more importantly, we have our honoree, our keynote speaker today, Mayor Lori Lightfoot, the mayor of the great city of Chicago. So happy to have you, Mayor. Listen, United Power really is a dues-paying 31-member organization, and we've got all of our friends here today to support that effort. United Power really is funded by member dues. We don't take money from the public, but we will take your money today if you have some to give, and I'll pass the hat first. That's the Baptist in me. I want to again, just acknowledge all the great support that we've gotten for this wonderful project of reclaiming this wonderful community by building 1,000 homes here in North Lawndale, and we are well on our way. We've got $25+ million in our loan construction pool, so that's really a big deal. We've got another $10 million from the state, which will help with subsidies for our home buyers. So it'll take a $250,000 house and make it roughly a $220,000 house. And so we're really grateful for $10 million from the state of Illinois. All right, you've heard enough from me because we're on a really tight schedule here today. So I'm going to ask my colleague and friend, Richard Townsend, to please come and have some comments. And then we'll hear from the greatest mayor in the United States of America, as far as I am concerned, Mayor Lori Lightfoot.
Well, this is the day that the Lord has made, and we're going to rejoice and be glad in it. We're grateful for all he has done. Good morning, my name is Richard Townsend, and I serve as the Executive Director of the Lawndale Christian Development Corporation, a key member of United Power for Action and Justice. I'm also a 30+ year member of Lawndale Community Church and a member of the North Lawndale Homeowners Association, the greatest homeowners association in the world. My wife and I have been homeowners in this community for 26 years. I was born just a block away at 1537 South Avers. My mother moved here in the 50s, like many folks who escaped sharecropping in the South and come here to get a better life, only to experience getting here being exploited with contract sales and absentee landlords that was just as bad as anything that they experienced in Jim Crow. If you knew how poor we were, you would never ever think in a million years that I would be standing here today thinking about and talking about building 1,000 homes for everyday people. Fortunately, I have not had to dream alone. A dream you dream alone is only a dream. A dream you dream together is reality. In North Lawndale, we've had institutions and leaders who began to dream this dream together and who dared to believe that organized people with some organized money could create the change that we know is needed and deserved. To the homeowners of the North Lawndale Homeowners Association, 235 members strong, and a track record for fighting for $3 million of realized improvements to the Douglas Library and spearheading this campaign to reclaim North Lawndale. There are a number of key leaders that we could mention, They're not all that we could talk about today, but we want to recognize a few. I'm gonna call out these folks because they have been the real champions. While I get a lot of credit because I'm a pretty face, they actually did all of the hard work.
Go ahead, Richard.
So Karen Castleberry, Audrey Pierce, Chris Brown, Danita Robinson, Shangway Parker, Rochelle Foster, Harry Campbell, Walanda Cannon, Jerry Budwig, Sheila McNary, Kevin Sutton, Deborah Brown. They have been the real champions in North Lawndale. They have driven and shaped the power of the North Lawndale Homeowners Association and get this done. Also, fellow North Lawndale institutions that are part of United Power. Sinai Health Systems is here. UCAN is here. Harmony Community Church, Learn Charter School, IFF Home and Square, North Lawndale Community Coordinating Council, and Mercy Housing, and also Lawndale Christian Development Corporation. Those have been the folks that have collectively come together to make this happen. To the other United Power members, we're a Cook County-wide organization. There are 31 religious and civic organizations committed to exercising their collective power for the common good, especially All Saints Episcopal Church and other members like St. Mary's Episcopal Church, who raised $200,000 to build these model homes you see behind you. The Southwest Organizing Project that spearheaded the Reclaiming Southwest Chicago campaign that started with a 20-block area with 98 vacant properties that is now down to 0. As a result, crime has dropped by half. The local schools have improved from a level 3 to a level 1. In addition to SWAT, we have other United Power institutions that seek to anchor other parts of the reclaiming effort on the South Side, the Resurrection Project in Back of the Yards, and in Roseland. That's where we're also going to be building 1,000 homes. So it's not just about North Lawndale, it's about rebuilding the South and West Side for working people. And there have been other mothers and fathers, Senator Harmon said this, so we stole your quote, Senator Harmon. There have been other mothers and fathers that make this effort happen. The state government, which recently approved a budget that included $10 million for homebuyer subsidies to make these homes affordable. As a result, we'll be able to provide an average homebuyer subsidy of about $30,000 to each home. Today, we especially recognize the legislators here with us today, Representative Lakeisha Collins, Senate President Don Harmon, Congressman Chuy Garcia, and staff of U.S. Senator Dick Durbin. Also, some private funders came to the table. We have raised to date a total of $12.25 million in private donations to construct the homes. 0% interest. I'm going to say that again in English. 0% interest. 5 years to construct homes at scale. We especially want to recognize members of the Owens Family Foundation, the Staines Family Foundation, as well as Charlie Corrigan, who's here on behalf of JP Morgan Chase. They've all made substantial commitments. Let's give them a applause. To the City Council members that have advocated for this effort, as we have brought it to the point of City Council approval, which will happen in the coming months, leading the way has been our alderman, the best alderman in the city of Chicago, Michael Scott Jr. here in North Lawndale. Also, Alderman Harry Osterman, who's the chair of the Housing and Real Estate Committee, Alderman Martin, who's also here with us today. Let's give them a hand. And finally, to our mayor, who met with us on a rainy day in an overpacked high school, 1,251 people. We asked her one question: would she work with United Power for Action and Justice towards results? She said yes. We all heard it. Mayor, you have kept your word, and we know this by the tireless and transformative work of Commissioner Marisa Novara at the Department of Housing, Deputy Commissioner Irma Morales. They have helped to keep your word and make this dream a reality. And so now I'm going to bring up the greatest mayor in America, Mayor Lori Lightfoot.
So for those of you who can't see, what Richard just gave me is a photograph of that incredible night. It was 1,000 people in a packed room. And what he didn't tell you, had I had the audacity to say no, I never would have made it out of there that night. So good morning, everyone. It is great, as always, to be on the West Side. We are here to celebrate an announcement that is community-driven initiative to expand affordable home ownership in North Lawndale. Let me recognize the other leaders who are here with us. Our great congressman, my congressman, Chuy Garcia. We have from Senator Durbin's office, Carissa Del Rio. Carissa, where are you? Come on up. Don't be shy. We have Illinois Senate President Don Harmon. And three of my colleagues from the City Council. Housing Committee Chairman Harry Osterman. Harry. We have from the far north side his colleague, Alderman Matt Martin. And you heard and you will hear from a great friend and partner who has a heart for the people, particularly the people here in North Lawndale, Michael Scott Jr. I do also want to recognize Department of Housing Commissioner Marisa Navarro. If there's a better housing commissioner in the United States, I haven't met him. Marisa is working hard every day on behalf of the residents of this city to bring housing, equity, and affordability to every neighborhood. Thank you, Commissioner Navarro. I also want to recognize United Power for Action Justice Chair and Executive Director of Home and Square, Kevin Sutton. Kevin, where are you? There he is. And we got to give a shout out to Penn Elementary School Principal, Dr. Cheryl Denise Moore Ali. She greeted me. She's here. Thank you. I want to also recognize Heather Staines, former state senator and member of the Staines family. Many of you know that the Staines family has made a long-lasting presence and commitment to North Lawndale. Heather is now very involved in the foundation. So Heather, thank you for being here. And we have longtime homeowner and member of the North Lawndale Community Coordinating Council, North Lawndale Homeowners Association, Sheila McNary. Sheila. Folks, we all know very well, home ownership has long been proven to be a significant predictor of one's future financial stability and abundance. And it gives people the freedom and the space they need to chase after opportunities, raise a family, pass on generational wealth, and climb a ladder of upward mobility. However, while many people aspire to own their own home, not all of them are able to accomplish that goal. For many black and brown folks, home ownership is all too often seen as a pipe dream just beyond our reach. And that's, unfortunately, no coincidence. Make no mistake, the elusive nature of home ownership is modern-day manifestation of decades of discriminatory practices. Things like predatory loans, redlining, segregation, and far too many other things that keep us locked out from home ownership. We know this to be true. There was a recent study that was done in 2020 of lending practices among all the major banks and financial institutions, and not surprisingly, what it showed is that in Chicago and other places, these lenders were not lending in majority black and brown neighborhoods and hurting our people. It's time that we turn the corner from that, and these lending institutions need to step up and make amends.
Yes.
All of us As leaders of a city that is predominantly black and brown, we all have a responsibility to create a Chicago where every resident, no matter their zip code, has access to the resources that they need to lead stable lives and achieve upward mobility. And home ownership is a critical part of that journey. This mission has become especially important throughout the pandemic, which has taken a devastating toll on our communities of color and exacerbated the social economic inequities that many of our people were struggling with long before we knew anything about a pandemic. Inequities that have undoubtedly been deepened due to the systemic lack of access to credit, capital, and home ownership. Now, as we begin to turn the chapter on COVID-19 and root equity and inclusion at the center of our social economic recovery, it's imperative that we use this moment to give our residents the resources that they need, not just to survive, but to thrive for the rest of their lives and to pass on that wealth to their children. That's why I'm here and thrilled to be in North Lawndale to announce the Reclaiming Chicago campaign, our latest initiative to create stronger and safer communities on the South and the West Sides, and it's aptly named Reclaiming Chicago. Through the provision of affordable homes and opportunities for families to build generational wealth, Reclaiming Chicago will start, and again, the process of addressing vacancy, which leads to violence and decades of disinvestment. Importantly, this campaign also builds on the work of our administration's signature neighborhood economic development initiative called Invest Southwest, which we announced here on the West Side in the fall of 2019. It's an equity-focused and inclusion-driven commercial development in 10 targeted communities, including North Lawndale, allowing us to expand development beyond commercial and infrastructure developments and into affordable home ownership, which will further stabilize this historic community. To do this, we are working closely with partners at Chicago Neighborhood Initiatives, Lawndale Christian, and United Power for Action and Justice to turn vacant land into affordable homes. And let me give you a little more specific. Let me give you a little more specifics. In North Lawndale alone, 18% of the land is vacant, and the city owns approximately 950 vacant parcels. That is a wow. That is a wow. But through this campaign, we will turn this vacant land into opportunity. The city has committed, we have committed, to convey 250 vacant city-owned lots in 2 phases to this campaign so that our partners will build and sell 250 single-family homes in 3 to 5 years. And this will put a dent in the overall objective of this initiative for 1,000 new homes on the West Side. We know that by bringing affordable homes to communities that need them most, as well as creating local employment opportunities during the development process, Reclaiming Chicago will allow us to create pathways towards upward mobility for our Black and brown residents. I want to give a special shout out again and thank Chicago Neighborhood Initiatives, Lawndale Christian Development Corporation, United Power for Action and Justice for their partnership on this campaign and unwavering advocacy for North Lawndale. This is exactly the kind of collaboration we need in order to bring about transformative change in our neighborhoods. We know this. When we are united, there is nothing we can't accomplish. Now, I would be remiss, given the events of overnight, if I didn't also address another issue. And Richard really kind of teed this up. We know that in communities that are healthy and vibrant, where there is home ownership, where people feel a sense of ownership of the geography under their feet, that we start to turn things around. But I want to talk about what happened in the 3rd District and the 18th District last night, when unfortunately there were 2 significant shooting incidents. It's very early on in the investigation of both incidents, and the facts will undoubtedly evolve. Preliminary results tell us that both incidents appear to be internal gang conflicts, retaliatory shootings for past incidents. The detectives have been literally working all night long and have some promising leads, and the superintendent will address more specifics at his stand-up in a few hours. But I do want to say this. Incidents like these are both heartbreaking and frustrating. They're heartbreaking, of course, for the people that are directly involved and their families. We have too many wounded people, wounded physically, but also wounded psychologically and traumatized in our city. And many of those wounds stem from gun-related violence. What's also frustrating and heartbreaking is that for some in our community, their thirst for revenge has no sense of decency. They don't want to let the criminal justice system play itself out. They want to engage in street justice, which is tragic and terrible, because invariably what happens, like as we've seen happen so many times with way too many children in our city across this year, when they aim, they don't get the target, they get the children and the innocent bystanders who have a right to live in our city without fear of being felled by gun violence. We still have too many murderers that are not being held accountable, not just in Chicago, but across this country. But our county is being plagued. So I'm calling upon our county partners, and particularly those in the criminal courts. Open up the courts. People need to get their day in court. Justice delayed is justice denied. And you're hurting not only those who are charged, but also those in the community, the victims, the survivors, and the witnesses who need to have a measure of justice. Our criminal courts have been shut down for 15 months. They need to reopen, and we need to see the wheels of justice moving for our victims and their families. Now, I am grateful for President Biden's recent public safety announcements last week. They are a step in the right direction, and truthfully, there have been things that I've been advocating for since 2019. The enhanced empowerment of the ATF and a crackdown on gun dealers who know they're selling to criminals and straw purchasers. They need to be held accountable as well, and I'm glad that the president is now empowering the ATF to be able to do their job and hold those people accountable. Our Chicago Police Department, just as a data point, already this year has collected over almost 6,000 crime guns off the streets. And we know that that's a fraction of what's out there. When we have this many guns, we have to have accountability. We have to have accountability for the people who are picking up guns and settling petty disputes at the tip of a bullet. This has got to stop. And we need the federal government and all of our partners to step up and do their parts. We need to make sure that our streets are safe. And just as we've seen with the coalition of people who have come together to make this moment possible, we need the same kind of focus and resolve to deal with the scourge, the other epidemic, the pandemic of gun violence in our city. And I'll have more to say about that in the next few days. But we have to come together. I'll say it again. United, there's nothing that we cannot do. There's no mountain that is too high for us to climb. There is no problem too big for us to solve. But we've got to be united. It's got to be community driven. And the city can be a convener and use the power of the mayor and the city council. But we need all of you to be our partners in this fight. So this is a joyous moment. I don't want to turn from that. Creating home ownership in this community, stabilizing, and making sure that residents feel like they have something of their own is so powerful, such a powerful tool, and I'm grateful to be part of this incredible announcement. So thank you all very much. And at this time, I'd like to call Sheila McNary to come to the podium and offer a few words. Sheila.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Sheila McNary, and I have been a proud homeowner here in North Lawndale for 21 years. I am also a member of the North Lawndale Community Coordinating Council, also known as NLCCC. NLCCC, and also a proud member of United Power, NLCCC is. NLCCC is residents, community organizations, elected officials, businesses, and other stakeholders, many of you who are here this morning. I serve on NLCCC's executive team, and I am the chair of the NLCCC's Arts and Culture Subcommittee. We judge our elected officials not just at election time when we see them at our doors, on our phones, and in our mailboxes. Today we have elected officials standing with us when they could legitimately be anywhere else because they serve thousands of constituents. But today they have chosen to stand with us. For that, we are grateful. So let's give all of our elected officials a round of applause. Thank you for your service. NLCCC's vision for North Lawndale is a community with livable wage jobs, high-quality affordable housing, quality public education for every child, streets free of violence, arts and culture, restaurants, grocery stores, and other neighborhood businesses, such as North Lawndale Employment Network and the Douglas 18 Miniature Golf Course. Everything that a community needs to support long-term sustainable growth. To achieve our vision, it will take strategic planning, civic engagement with our elected officials, the full participation of our community. We see Chicago as one community, not just a random collection of people who live in the same city. We are a community because we have common experiences, common needs, and that's why affordable housing is so important, because it allows us to come together as one community. I love my neighbors, and I love the sense of community that we are building together. Today, let us rededicate ourselves to racial and social justice by reclaiming our commitment to social equity. So we thank you, Mayor Lightfoot, for your commitment to building 1,000 affordable homes in North Lawndale. Thanks to all of the elected officials, the stakeholders, and our community neighbors for helping us write North Lawndale's next chapter. Thank you.
Hey, listen, I couldn't have said it better myself. Richard, Sheila, and the mayor have taken all of my talking points this morning. I'm so happy. This job is so easy today. I do it for free. Listen, we are so happy to be here to celebrate this great monumental time. Right across the street behind me is 2 wonderful model homes that are being constructed as part of this great endeavor, and I am super excited to just share this time with our residents, our community, our stakeholders, our civic partners. This is an amazing, amazing day, and it's already been shared by our mayor, whose speechwriter snuck in and stole my notes. Listen, home ownership really is a matter of finance, it's a matter of family, it's a matter of future, and it is definitely a matter of fairness. For too long, we have been denied and delayed an American dream here in our own community. And so today, building right in our own front yard is United Power, NLCCC, and the North Lawndale Homeowners Association, along with the Lawndale Christian Development Corporation. Give them all a big hand. Let me just keep it real. If we could do it all by ourselves, we would have done it 50 years ago. And so that's why we need partners. And I am really, really happy and enthusiastic to introduce this next partner, my friend Heather Staines, whose family has been investing in North Lawndale for years now. Come on, Heather.
All right, thank you. Thanks for all for coming out. Sun's coming out. It's a beautiful day. I'll be really quick. You know, my family, we've committed at least $2.5 million to the construction financing loan. As you've heard, we've raised almost 12.5 of the $25 million that's needed. I'm going to tell you 4 reasons why more folks need to be investing in that and get us to the $25 million. 1, scale. No way you can keep really momentum developing in a neighborhood like this when you have 3,000 vacant lots if you don't do things in scale. We have the capacity here, as you've heard, to get to the 1,000 homes that are going to be built right here in Lawndale without a question. There's all those folks lined up to make it happen. 2, leverage. We've got here, the city has committed 250 lots. They're already prepping up to 100 of those right now. The state, thanks to the Senate President, has committed $10 million for the subsidies. So the dollars that you can invest in this project will only leverage a lot more happening to get the scale to come to fruition. 3, this is community-led. I mean, this is real impact. You've got nothing but folks like Richard Townsell and Kevin leading the way here, and they've committed to using Black and Brown-owned companies, not just here, but in the west and south parts that are also going to be building, and hiring more folks that are Black and Brown as well. True impact by the way that's being community-led. And finally, it's a real way of aligning your investment with your values of your organizations. More and more people are talking about doing impact or mission-aligned investing. This is the way you got to do it, folks. You got to put your dollars in, and not just your grant-making dollars, your actual corpus of your investments that you own, the assets that you invest, need to go into projects that really make a difference in community. And this really will lead to wealth creation for the homeowners here in Lawndale. So please join us in getting us to the $25 million construction financing loan. And thank you, United Power for Justice, for having the long-term vision to get us all here. And now I'm going to bring up Congressman Garcia. He has been a champion for these kind of community-led initiatives always throughout his career. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning to my neighbors from North Lawndale. I'm a South Lawndale resident, a former resident of 25th and Avers, so it's great to be on 16th and Avers this morning, right next to Richard Townsell's block. So I want you to know that I received permission from Congressman Danny Davis to be in his district this morning, and I am proudly taking advantage of that permission. This, however, has not been easy for anyone, but working class communities like ours suffered from the pandemic, and we did so disproportionately. Communities of color like ours suffered even more than the general public. People all across the country face housing insecurity this year, but around here, the housing crisis isn't new. For too long, Chicagoans have faced a tough choice. Underinvestment and unsafe housing, North Lawndale is the epitome of that terrible history, or development and displacement. And I'm proud to stand with all of you here today to help build a different path forward. We can build safe, affordable housing for working class people. We can lift up our families and lift up our communities. When we work together as developers, investors, community organizers, and government, we can make building thriving neighborhoods for all a reality. This is a step forward. And I want to congratulate all the partners in this effort, and especially the City of Chicago and Mayor Lightfoot. My work here in Chicago has always been about that. So I'm proud to be here with all of you to start a beautiful new project in this community. I also want to shout out to our partners on the Southwest side, the Southwest Organizing Project and United for Power, as we move forward in their project. reclaiming the Southwest. And I want you to know that your ask of me has resulted in my putting that project in the community housing project that will become a reality in that part of the Great South Side. And of course, I'll take this energy and this vision that you're giving me today with your remarks and your examples back to Washington to fight for more and to fight to ensure that housing is infrastructure becomes one more bold investment in our communities. Thank you.
All right, I thought they had it down by now, but I'm back because Senator Harmon is next, and immediately following Senator Harmon, we'll hear from Commissioner Navarro.
Good morning, all. Good morning. It is an honor to be here. It is great to share the stage with so many elected officials, Mayor and members of the City Council, Congressman Garcia, Representative. Having so many levels of government represented is the kind of partnership we need. But even more important, I want to recognize all of my friends and neighbors from United Power who came to my office, and came to my office, and came to my office. And will probably come to my office again next week. This is really a testament to your advocacy and your work. I want you to know anytime anyone in Springfield says affordable housing, I say reclaiming communities. This is what affordable housing looks like. An affordable apartment in somebody else's building may protect your body, but to own a home in your neighborhood, surrounded by neighbors who are similarly empowered, that nurtures the soul. Now, perhaps my own politics are a little too influenced by the movie It's a Wonderful Life. But there's that scene where George Bailey confronts the banker, Mr. Potter, and says, why do you want to wait till people's kids grow up and move out and they can afford full price for the home? Is there something wrong with letting people raise their family in a couple decent rooms and a bath? George Bailey would be proud of this. And we should all be proud of the work we're doing to make sure families can raise, parents can raise their families in the neighborhood in a good, solid house surrounded by a loving neighborhood. I'm all in. I'll look forward to seeing you in my office in a week. And I got the memo. Commissioner Navarro, you're up next.
Good morning. Thank you, Senator Harmon, for that introduction. It is so great to be on the west side. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here today to launch the Reclaiming Communities campaign here in North Lawndale. And I want to thank my boss, Mayor Lori Lightfoot, for her support and the support of the mayor's office. This is something, this scale and this level of resources and coordination across departments, it's not something the city has done before. And this mayor committed to it, as you've heard, in front of about 1,200 people, United Power leaders back in September 2019 when she was very new on the job. We know, and you've heard this too, but I just want to say, we know that home ownership has been the foundation for many families to building generational wealth. And we also know that that path has long been denied to Black people in this country, in this city, and specifically in this neighborhood, North Lawndale, which was the launching ground of the Contract Buyers League. Here's something we also know, given this history. Race-neutral policies do not lead to race-neutral results. We will have to be intentional to actively repair the intergenerational harm of private and government wealth extraction from Black Chicagoans. And that's why we're here today. 250 new homes in North Lawndale will not only create new homeowners who will have the opportunity to build wealth, but these new homes will also help to develop the entire community. So here's where the intention comes in. So yes, home ownership builds wealth, but having family wealth in the first place is what often creates the ability to buy a home. And that's why I want to thank the funders that are here today, because it isn't enough to just say, okay, now we will start lending equitably or equally. It's to say, because of what's happened over the last 100 years, we've denied the ability for people to build wealth that allows them to purchase homes. That's why we need to step up and provide the purchase price assistance that allows people to take this step today. And I want to recognize United Power for Action and Justice, which remains diligent in its goal of building 1,000 new homes. Because here's the thing about United Power, they're not just here to build houses. That's the visible part, and that's exciting. But the real work is in building relationships and building the power to change communities. That's what United Power does best. I know this personally because I'm a proud graduate of their 10-day training. This is the language of community organizing, a language in which you all are clearly fluent. It's good today to be in the house of organized power in the pursuit of justice. Thank you for this. And they've been named, right? Dave Doig with Chicago Neighborhood Initiative, Richard Townsend with Lawndale Christian Development Corporation. But I want to just note our development team is a really special one. They've long been committed. CNI on the south side, LCDC on the west side. Fun fact, Dave Doig and I both worked for LCDC for quite a while. So this is a special team, and this team is here for the long haul. And I want to thank all of you for your continued commitment to the vision of the Department of Housing, equitable distribution of resources across all 77 communities, so that every Chicagoan can choose and remain in quality housing that's affordable, safe, and healthy. I would like to now introduce my friend, Alderman Michael Scott, to close us out. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. I am so happy to be here today. This is a culmination of so many people, so many efforts, so many community-based organizations that are doing good work in this community. I'm only going to say this one time. I'm smarter than Senator Harmon today, because when they came to me in Groves on the first time, I said, whatever you need, let's make it happen. So they didn't have to come to me over and over and over again, because I knew that they were coming. I wanted to make sure that we took care of that. You said yes? I don't know. I don't know what happened with him and I. I do want to acknowledge my partner in good government, Representative Lakeisha Collins, who has been doing a great job. You know, since she hit the ground running, and everything that I have asked for her on the state level, she has done. And I appreciate your partnership, Rep, and I appreciate all that you do. You know, when I was about 9 years old, my father got shot in Douglas Park. And when he got shot, I said to him, you know, why are we living here? You know, why do we continue to live in a community where we're going to get shot, killed, maimed? There aren't businesses. And my father said to me, hey, if we were to leave now, we would rob this community of all the things that they have given to us. And we would be part of the problem and not part of the solution. And so if you will fast forward, I'd say 30, 35 years, I was actually driving my daughter to school. She was getting on the bus at Mason Academy, and then I would pick her up. And this is right around the time that I was campaigning for alderman. And when we were driving down 16th Street, she said to me, Dad, you know, why are all of these vacant lots here? You know, why are all of these people out on the block with nothing to do? She said, is that why you're running for alderman? And I said, that's exactly why I'm running for alderman. That's exactly what I'm doing. And to be able to partner with United Power in Action to do something like this, to create a down payment on what we talked about, on how to better our community, is something that I'm so very proud of. You know, you think about housing and all the things that people said about how housing creates so many opportunities. Rooftops create economic development. Economic development creates jobs for our community. Our jobs in our community creates a better model of public safety. It is all cyclical. And so I appreciate all of the organizations, but more importantly, the residents who have stepped up and said, enough is enough. We want to reclaim our neighborhoods. And so you hear that garbage on the microphone behind us talking about that is somebody that is not from our community. These are people from our community.
Yes, sir.
These are people who have stepped up and said that we want better in our community. We deserve better in our community. And you can talk about a 1 North Lawndale or 2 North Lawndale. We are all here together. Black, brown, white, we all are invested in this community.
Yes.
And I urge each and every one of you to stay committed.
Yes.
Stay committed and don't let that fodder and that nonsense detour what it is that we're doing. Because we're doing a good thing. You know, I don't want to pat myself on the back because it's not me. It is all of us. You know, I have not seen our community move in this direction, and I've been here all my life. 45 years, except for when I went to Morehouse College. When I came back here and I started to invest and do things in my community. And I want to work with each and every one of you to make sure that we reclaim what is ours. Make sure that we're doing the things that are necessary to make sure that there is not gentrification. That's right, that there is not gentrification. And that's why it's so important for the state to step up in the way that they're doing. And it is important that our mayor, and I just want to give her the credit. You know, when I first started to run for office, when she first ran and got in, every time I would see her, and I know she got tired of me, I said, don't forget about the West Side. Don't forget about the West Side. You have not forgot about the West Side. And so I'm going to end at that. I am so proud to be a part of all of this. I'm so proud to be a part of North Lawndale moving forward. And we'll open it up for questions. Thank you. Thank you. Listen, this has been an awesome, awesome occasion. Listen, if you don't have a hater, you're not doing nothing. I can promise you. So I learned a long time ago, as long as you got a couple of critics, you just keep it moving. I'm so happy to be here. I went to this school, I won't even tell you how many years ago. I lived at 1641 South Avers, and when my parents got ready to buy a house, they had to go all the way to West Pullman to find one. So I am thrilled to be here today to announce that we are going to have some homes for your cousins, your neighbors, your relatives, all of us, them. Yeah. And don't believe any of that nonsense that this is being built for somebody else. They said the same thing when I came to Home and Squares, a new home for Chicago buyer all those years ago. It was the same hype. It's gonna be for somebody else and da-da-da, yada, yada, yada. Well, let me just tell you, all of my neighbors and friends are sitting here right now. We've been together for over 25 years at Homan. We're gonna stay here in North Lawndale. We're gonna build more homes for North Lawndale, and we are glad to do it. So what I need you to do is to purpose in your heart and in your mind to start calling your neighbors, your cousins, your co-workers, everybody who wants a great, great community with a great, great commute to come back to North Lawndale and make this place home. We will stabilize this community together. We will build it together. We will make it more prosperous together. We will make it safer together. I
tell you, all I need is a little bit of a critic, and I'll preach all day long. But listen, we got to go. The mayor's got questions. Okay, the mayor's going to take questions, and I'm excited to bring back the greatest mayor in Chicago and in the history of America, Mayor Lori Lightfoot.
So Kevin has just set me up, right? You know that. You know that. But I'm happy to take questions. Go ahead, Craig.
Good morning, Mayor.
Good morning.
I wanted to follow up on Friday's development City Council. Sorry,
Yeah.
we're jumping right off topic, but what are your plans for continuing to follow through on the commitments you talked about early on with DuSable as far as developing the park, doing the Riverwalk, statues? Can you outline what your plans are going forward, what your commitment is?
Yeah, my expectation is that the specific plan will be introduced here shortly, that we'll have hearings in the month of July, and then hopefully we'll be positioned to vote on it. If not in July, then September when City Council resumes. I really do believe it's very important not just to have a name out there. We've got to teach our residents, and particularly our young people, about the history of Chicago. And it's way past time that people understood the importance of DuSable to the city's founding. We wouldn't be here without that little trading post on the river right at Michigan Avenue. We need to understand his history, the history of his wife, Kitty Hawa, and the three tribes that were here in Chicago. It's all part of the same thing, and I'm committed to making sure that we make good on our commitment to have the statues, DuSable Park on the east, all the way to the confluence, and then year-round programming so that people understand who DuSable is and its importance to our city.
And just to follow up on the shootings, particularly the mass shootings over this weekend, you mentioned they appear to be gang-related. Were you referring, first of all, were you referring to the two mass shootings?
Yes,
the
I was.
three? Okay. Was there, and one of the things I know police...
What I'm talking about is there's one that happened late last night, and then another that happened in the early morning hours.
Okay.
Those are the two that I was referring to specifically.
Was there, I know police have worked hard to gain intelligence when there's been a shooting to see if they can't predict and prevent retaliations. Was there any intelligence? Do you know that police had that this was going to happen? And are you satisfied with how police have handled this, if there was?
Well, it's not just about the police, let me be clear. Public safety is a whole ecosystem. And one of the important ones which you reference is street outreach and street intervention. And they do a tremendous amount in the areas across the city, west side, south side, and other places to prevent that retaliatory shooting. But unfortunately, sometimes you never know when that moment is going to strike. But again, it's preliminary, but we believe that is the cause of that. Did we know at that moment that it was going to happen? The investigation will let us know more about that. But preliminary information from the intelligence that's been gathered and the information about the ongoing gang conflict is that this was retaliation for some incident that happened in the past. But again, the superintendent will have more information at 11, and then we'll update as we go forward.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you, everyone. And listen, I just want to say this. This is a glorious day on the West Side. You know, as Kevin said, if there's no critics, then you got to wonder. But when there are critics and talking about the kind of nonsense that you heard of, there can't be unity among black and brown and white folks, that can't be true in our city. If we are not united and do not come together, we will perish separately. So coming together, being united, and having moments like this where a community reclaims the territory under your feet, there is nothing more glorious than that. So thank you, everyone. Have a fantastic day. And I look forward to the ribbon cutting. Thank you.